Come on. These are my clubs, people. Oh, there we go. Come on. Oh, I missed. It's time for standing out, everybody. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Trey Griggs here, Beta Consulting Group, and you're here for episode 150 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. I'm Trey Griggs, Beta Consulting Group. So excited to have you with us today. We got a big show today. In fact, we've had a big show all week. Every episode's been awesome. If you missed any of the episodes this week, make sure you go back and watch them on demand. Had an awesome conversation on Monday with my friend Melanie Patterson from Integrity Trans Company up in Chicago, Illinois. Yesterday, Ellen Voya of the Women in Trucking Association talking about the Accelerate Conference coming up. Today, Kyle Mlakar is coming up. Can't wait to have him on the show in just a minute. Tomorrow, Brenda Wood. She is a speaker, a motivational speaker. So I'm excited to have her on the show. And then on Friday, Michael Stolarks, he's going to be talking to us about what's going on over at Seeker Logistics. So a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'm very excited. So make sure you come back every day for an episode of Standing Out. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, to TAF, so the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping those drivers, owner operators, and carriers keep those wheels turning out on the road, and we appreciate you. If you are behind the wheel of a truck, thank you so much for everything that you do, keeping our economy going. We appreciate you so much. Keep being heroes out there. And by the way, everybody who's watching this show, if you see a trucker out on the road at a truck stop or maybe at a grocery store or at a gas station doing that hard work, make sure you go up and say thank you. Ask them their name, tell them thank you, and you appreciate them. It's going to make them feel good. So make sure you do that. Getting back to TAFs, though, make sure you visit them at TAFs.com if you're behind the wheel of a truck. They're going to help you with cash flow resources, discounts on tires and fuel, and so many other things to keep those wheels turning. And if you're a freight broker, you can also get in on the action as well and become a referral partner, because you're talking to carriers every day who need these types of resources. So check them out. And the easiest way to do that is to click on the link that Ruth is going to put into the comments today. That's going to take you right to my landing page with TAFs so that they know that I sent you. I need credit for this, folks. So make sure you help me out. Click on that link. Get started with TAFs. And tell them that Trey sent you. Also, when you get a chance, check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com and see how we are helping companies frame and tell their stories of their company and their success, their mission, their vision, their core values, all those good things. Moving out of the realm of obscurity into the realm of becoming a well-known brand. We'd love to work with you. So fill out a form. We'll reach out to you, or just find us on LinkedIn. You can reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can tell your story. We love telling stories and helping companies do that. So we'd love to work with you. All right. We want to get this party started today. Going to have a great show, episode 150. A lot of good things we're going to talk about today. And this guy I met, I actually got to know him through LinkedIn a little bit. He's well connected in the transportation logistics industry, been with a lot of companies that are well known, and is just a jack of all trades kind of guy, a really great guy. And I can't wait to talk about a lot of things today on the show. Please welcome to the show from Fox Logistics, the Chief of Staff, and my good friend, Kyle Mlakar. Kyle, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Trey. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for being on the show, man. It's great to have you. I've heard so many good things about you. Our mutual friend, Ryan Schreiber, which we're going to talk about that later. But for those who may not know about you, take a few moments, take 30 seconds or so, and tell everybody a little about yourself and what's good at Fox Logistics.
Sure. No, thanks for having me. Kyle Mlakar, Chief of Staff at Fox. Got started in the industry in 2008, working for a privately held 3PL, like so many of us got started in Chicago, American Transport Group, and was there for 12 years, variety of different roles, sales, training, all sorts of different things before finally ascending as director of HR. Served that role for 2 years. Absolutely no HR background. Ryan Schreiber and I, you just mentioned, he and I joke about it all the time. Absolutely none. Pure sales guy up until then. But was there and then went to work for Metaphora, formerly Carrier Direct, which is I think where you and I first got connected, and spent some good time there. Then work a little bit in the tech space, and then came to Fox a year ago to serve as Chief of Staff. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been great. Hey,
yeah,
congratulations
so 12 years.
real quick on 150.
Oh, yeah.
That's an amazing number.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're excited. Love doing this, and excited to have you on the Sesquicentennial show. I don't know if anybody knows that, but 150 is Sesquicentennial. Look it up. I only know that, Kyle, because when I was in college, my alma mater, William Jewell College, in 1999 was celebrating its sesquicentennial year, and it was 150. It started in 1849. So I learned that word, big word. It's probably one of the biggest words I know, people. So don't expect much, but that's one I know, sesquicentennial.
Yeah.
So
I'll
you're the
have you email that.
sesquicentennial guest. That's right. So,
I'm
that's
blessed.
big time. That's big time. All right, let's talk about being at American Transport Group. 12 years in your first logistics job. That's impressive. A lot of people don't make it that long. Some people might make it 1 year, 2 years, maybe 4 years, 5, but 12 years there, it must have been a good place. And it sounds like you had a lot of, different positions along the way. What was that experience like, and how did that impact what you're doing today, which we'll get to in a minute?
Oh, it was pivotal. I mean, I came in, I walked in, I remember the first day, I had no idea what a freight brokerage was. I had gone to the University of Colorado Boulder. I had specialized in skiing. Even though I was an economics degree, I graduated on time, thankfully, in 4 years, or unthankfully, depending on how you look at it. But came to Chicago, went to work, worked my way all the way up through carrier sales. Booked a load on my first call, thought this was the greatest thing in the world. Nosedived.
Like, this is easy.
Yeah. The worst carrier sales rep of all time. Thankfully, some dominoes, fell my way, and I got into the customer side operations. And then, like a lot of 3PLs, we grew, and leadership team just continued to give me opportunities where I went off to build a sales team, and then with a friend of mine, and grew that. And then I saw a need in sales training, and how could we be better as a private company, and went into that. And then it just kind of took its own little journey of interests, and got into recruiting and onboarding and interviewing and everything else. And then boom, director of HR. So, and then, 12 years, kind of crazy.
Well, and kudos to the leadership team there that recognize that you're the kind of guy that can do a lot of things, giving you opportunities, which you clearly earned along the way. I mean, certainly there's a component of earning an opportunity, but there's also a component of leadership recognizing it and giving an opportunity when it's earned. And I think that, when those two things come together, which it sounds like it did for you, you get this vast experience that has led you to the role that you're doing now, which is chief of staff. And I got to be honest, this is a kind of a new title that I think we're seeing, especially in our industry. The only chief of staff that I know is Leo McGarry from the West Wing, from way back in the day. For those oldies like myself, I'm dating myself.
Great show.
Going back to, phenomenal show. Aaron Sorkin, just incredible writer. So, but that's the only chief of staff that I really know is Leo McGarry. But now you're in this role. Talk a little bit about what this role is and why this role is really critical for organizations, especially the ones that are growing fast.
Yeah, it's a great question. Great point. I think it took a visionary like our CEO at Fox, Matt Lawrence, to really identify, hey, what do I want to do with the company, with the business? What does the organization need, and where do we want to take it? Those conversations started about 14 months ago. And Matt and I had a series of phone conversations because I had a conceptualization of what the role could look like. Did it align with his conceptualization? That was the big question. And so I said, well, how about I write my job profile? Let me write the job description. I'll do the study behind the comp and everything else, but let's get really down to the nuts and bolts. And if it works for you, then we'll have another call. And I think the only thing that I had wrong was that Fox Logistics is incorporated, not an LLC. Once he reviewed it,
minor detail.
And it took it from there. But it reinforced that he and I had a very clean and clear alignment about what the role needed to be for Fox and for him to take the company forward. And then we just went for it from there.
So talk a little bit about the role. Like, what exactly does a chief of staff typically do? And what is the value of that for maybe an organization out there who's listening to this that is thinking, this might be a role that we want to look into or potentially add to our team?
Yeah, it's a pure Swiss Army knife type of role. Like you said in the past, it requires experience and expertise, and it really shows into two different areas. First and foremost, of course, is the people strategy or the people side of the organization, giving them a clear directional person to go to for whatever it is that they need. One of the biggest mantras that I have is you have to put your people in a position to succeed. And in freight and in logistics and transportation, I don't need them worrying about insurance cards or this benefit or that benefit. I need them worrying about the freight. And so I really take that kind of steadfast visionary point on that, which is you guys go execute, we'll take care of the rest. So you have the people side, kind of your HR, space over there. On the other side, it's being a, how shall say, a builder, a creator, a designer, a consultant, if you will, to our CEO, our COO, our whole team as a leadership group, about where we want to take the company. What do we need to build next? What do we have to do? And so if you take that kind of paradigm from the predictable success, world that I'm sure much of the audience may know about, you have the visionary, you have the operator, you have the processor. I really focus on being the synergist, the one who's able to take the visions of our CEO, design them, build them, and then implement them and install them so that then our COO and the rest of the team can go out and optimize them and make them a reality. So at a high level, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think it's a great position, especially for somebody who has the experience that you have. They got vast experience in different departments, understanding how business works overall, especially this business, logistics business, and the ability to be very personable. That's one thing that I've noticed about you over the years is the ability for you just to talk to people, to work with people, to be a great team player, to understand how people are doing, what's their motivation, what's their struggles. All of those components come into it. The HR background that you have, it now makes sense to me when I think about that from a leadership position within the company. I don't think I knew that before that you had done HR. So just knowing that, it makes a lot of sense. You're doing the tactical and also the people side of the business and bringing it all together, as you said, being a synergist. I love that word. That's a cool word, being a synergist within the company. And it seems like it's a great fit for you. Yeah,
it has been. And it's one that keeps you motivated and interested, both from you have to know and love and do things every single day that pique your interest, that keep your juices flowing, so to speak. It never changes, but it is really this perfect blend between being a part of the business strategy in so many different ways, and then driving forward on the people side and having those conversations and getting an opportunity to listen, understand what their needs, wants, and desires are. And again, as I've said before, putting them in a position to succeed.
Yeah, it's really critical. I love that role. I think it's a much needed role. I think more companies are going to start to utilize that role in a better way, or maybe call it a different name, but have somebody who's doing that work that you're doing, which is huge. What's up, Hayden Allred? I saw Hayden in the comments. Oh boy, Hayden. Do you know Hayden down in Dallas, Texas? Do you know him?
Oh yeah, I know Hayden.
Yeah,
Hayden, how you doing,
Hayden's
man?
great.
You having a great day?
Oh man, Hayden's always having a good day.
Exactly.
He's always having a good day, which is awesome. All right, so another friend of ours that another mutual friend that we have is Ryan Schreiber, who I believe his Twitter handle is Optimus Prime. I believe it is something like that. Anyways, so you've had a chance to work with Ryan. Ryan's a great dude. Tell us a little bit about this thing that you guys did called Cortado Life. And we're going to put a banner up, I think, with the website. Let's talk about that for a minute. What does that mean? What is it all about?
So Ryan and I worked together at Metaphora. He was actually the one that kind of cracked the door and got me in there, and working with him alongside him and a lot of other great people. But we were on the road. I mean, you're a consultant. You're all over the place. If you're in Chattanooga, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, just Chicago, coffee is a fuel of the fire as you're on the road for those who enjoy it. And we just fell in love with going to local coffee shops and having a cortado, which is this perfect little blend of espresso and milk, kind of an equal balance there. It's It's not, a latte or a cappuccino, but it's not just straight espresso. It's this perfect little.
It's also where you get the pictures. Usually, people, the barista artists are making the little flowers and leaves pictures or whatever. Like, I mean, it's impressive.
They are artists. They are craftsmen and craftswomen, and it's just spectacular. So we started posting up all these images of cortados wherever it was that we were traveling. And we just had a lot of fun with it. And like we've talked about, you got to have a lot of interests. We'll see where it goes. I haven't been traveling as much now that, work from home, and I'm sitting here trying from Cleveland, Ohio, trying to run a company that's 100% remote. But it's definitely an interest of ours. And it was fun to get started with Ryan.
I feel so left out because I'm not a coffee drinker. Like, I just don't, I've never had a cup of coffee a day in my life, which might surprise some people.
That's okay, Trey. We can branch off. It's just a starting point. There's other ways that we can look at contributing.
I do drink hot chocolate, and I don't know if they can put a little cream in there or something, or a little whipped cream, and make some pictures of that. So, I could get.
It's almost the season for it. Just bring it in.
It is almost the season. A little pumpkin hot chocolate, everybody, in case you're out there wanting a new drink for $6 at Starbucks. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of fun to do those things with Ryan Schreiber. Great guy. You guys? Is that your website, or is that just a website talking about cortados?
Cortado Life is just I think it links. He bought the domain in a coffee shop, Mean Mug Coffee Shop. Little plug, Chattanooga, Tennessee, phenomenal coffee shop. We bought it for $12, sitting there, I think, prepping for a meeting, and we linked it to an Instagram that then I created, because it's one social media platform that Ryan Schreiber is not on, is Instagram.
Is he really? He's not.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I tried to be getting him on it. If he's listening, get on
he's
there.
Kind of an educational kind of guy. He's a thread kind of guy. He's a Twitter kind of guy. I get it. He's got their platform.
He's a Twitter guy.
I don't see him taking a lot of pictures. It's probably good.
So we will build it in time. We will build it into a full-fledged life of cortados and anything else, hot chocolates, apple cider.
Yeah, we need some hot chocolate pictures, please, for me.
Okay.
A few hot
I'll take care of that for you. Don't worry about it.
Appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about. So you had mentioned something. If I can remember, I want to go back to it when you were talking about, leading Fox Logistics now, or being on the leadership team, and you guys are 100% remote. Is that by design? Are you guys sticking with that? Is that still just because of the pandemic and you're just not sure what you're going to do yet, or is this like where are you guys at with that?
So one of the early things that Matt and I, again, Matt Lawrence, our CEO, he and I aligned on was that anyone could do this job at its core from anywhere in the world, and that seated at the center of our company has to be the exceptional right talent for Fox, and that talent can come from anywhere. It can't just be in one place, because we don't have then a saturation of diversified ideas. Okay. So not only is Fox 100% remote here in the United States, we've actually gone offshore. We have team members in the Philippines, Medellin, Colombia, and Skopje, Macedonia, all of which we've developed over the last 12 months of my time, actually, with Fox. It was actually a year ago that we, I think, launched and hired our first team member in Medellin. She is now a manager, and we've promoted her forward. We now have 7 team members in Medellin, 5 in Manila, Philippines, and 4 in Skopje, Macedonia, if I have that correct.
Wow. And so I love the fact that you guys have said prioritization for us is talent over an office or over being together, because you can be together virtually. It's different. We'll just acknowledge it. It's different, but you can be together. My team is almost entirely remote as well. And, we get on a lot of video calls. We use WhatsApp. We do a lot of chatting throughout the day to try to, kind of recreate that as much as we can. But you guys have said talent over office, or talent over being together physically. And that sounds like that was really intentional, and that's been working for you. It's fascinating because I think that there's only a small percentage of companies that have gone that route, like less than 10% have made that decision. Charlie Safro, our friend up in Chicago, she's right on board with that, that idea as well. But that's really interesting that you guys have said, intentionally, hey, we want talent. We don't care where they come from. That's going to be more important than us to having a building and people coming together throughout the week. Talk about a little bit about, how you guys recreate or create culture in a completely virtual remote, environment.
Sure. It starts with embracing it and everybody leaning into it. You've got to set a real expectation that This is how we're going to move forward. And so if this is not something that is of interest to you, if you like a brick and mortar and you want to come in and have water cooler talk and all the other stuff, that's great. That's great. That's just not what we're going to do. And that's okay. So we have to set an expectation early. And that goes with a lot of other areas, that kind of rule of thumb of setting expectations. But we embrace that. We've used a lot of different pieces of tech to fill in the gaps of what that virtual office may feel like and look like. Obviously you have Slack, but one of the first things that we installed was a monthly town hall. We're actually coming up on our 13th monthly town hall. So we're a few shows behind you, but we're getting there in time. But it's a monthly town hall. It's the first Friday of every month. We review the numbers. We talk about what we're doing from a leadership and a strategic standpoint. And we want to get buy-in and bring everything else, everyone else, the team, with us. And that's across the board. We have everybody dial into it. And it's extremely important that everybody knows what we're doing as a company. And then, again, other platforms that we've kind of messed around with and experimented with in order to create kind of that pseudo office style pod kind of structure feel like we all got used to when we all started, 15, 20 years ago in the industry.
Yeah, we have a weekly happy hour on Thursdays every week,
Cool.
and that helps us as well. And there's certainly a lot of other things that you can do. Sometimes I've found virtually that it's good just to open up a Zoom call or open up a Teams video call and just work together. Even if there's no agenda or you're not actually talking, you're just working together. And it kind of feels like you're in an office together. If something comes up, you've got a quick question or trying to be creative on the spot or whatever, you have a problem you have to solve, someone's there that you can talk to right away. So it almost gives you that feel that you're sitting next to each other in an office space. There's a lot of creative things that you can do to create that culture and create that feeling virtually. It just takes some intentionality. And it sounds like you guys have created your identity. You've figured out who your identity is. You're not going to compromise. And it's really easy when you set that expectation up front for everybody to be on the same page and to buy into that. Talk a little bit about the leadership development that you guys are doing. You said you promoted your first employee down in Medellin. You've already promoted a manager. This is clearly something important. We talked about it on the side a little bit. Talk a little bit about what you guys are doing to really develop your team, develop people to become leaders, and how important that is to you guys.
So it's kind of from a top down then bottom up approach. It's got to come kind of both ways, because as the company has grown exceptionally fast over the last 2 to 3 years, we went from a $4 million company in 2020 to a $26 million company in 2021 with only 24 employees to now 42 employees and on track for a $50 million a year. And just actually
kudos to you guys. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we just
awesome.
came in at number 268 on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing
Good
companies.
for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're very, very proud of that. Thank you. But in order to do that, when I came in and started looking at Fox and met with every single person to understand who and what they were all about, like a lot of other companies, you promote because of success and the performance that you see in individuals. But what was unique to Fox was we started to see people really separate themselves and become team leads, become leaders without even having the title. They just knew that they wanted to step up, and then the team looked at them. So that's an easy win, right? Every once in a while you get lucky. So then it's been really kind of seeing and growing them as leaders to make them better based off of experience and expertise. Mostly what didn't work. That's your greatest teacher, right? What you failed at, then what did
always.
When you're bringing people up from the bottom, so to speak, or from the early stages of their career, it's about explaining the why and bringing them along with you in the leadership opportunities, the conversations, the different things that make a great leader and a valuable leader to their team is you got to shepherd them in the process alone. So for her and I to work on things, we would have conversations before I would actually have a conversation with the team. And I would explain, hey, this is the objective of what the messaging has to be and why we're looking to do it. Okay. Let's retro after that meeting, that Zoom call with the team, and let's make sure that we hit those points and understand how we got there. And then, the next time you take it over, you run the call. I'll sit in the back seat and I'll just help steer it away. So there's a little bit of a give and take. Now she's running a team of 12 or 15 logistics coordinators across 4 countries. So
yeah, it's awesome.
it
I think I love it. I think that every company needs to really think through how they're identifying future leaders, how they're inviting those people into leadership, how they are training them to be leaders. It's starting with a more intentional training program and an ongoing program, and then how they're deploying them and overseeing them as leaders. Those 4 steps are really critical. And I think some companies just don't take the time to do it because it takes time. I mean, it takes somebody who is going to take away either from the work that they're doing, or for a company to invest specifically in people like you, who are, their job is to develop leaders and make sure people have what they need to really grow. I just don't think a lot of companies are very intentional about it. And that's an area that I'd love to see more companies do something like what you guys are doing, what my friends at Lippert Components are doing, and so many others in the industry that are starting to jump on that train.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. You got to give it a little bit of time, but like anything, and this goes back to really the days at Metaphor, you have to move with intent and purpose. Yeah. And if you can explain what those 2 things are, you'll have a genuine outcome.
I love that. We're going to pause for a minute in intent and purpose. That's a good thing to pause on right now, because I think those could be some key words for people as they think about, like, the words they want to focus on for 2023. Those would be 2 really good ones. All right. So listen, Kyle, we've got a new segment that we've been put on the show for a while now. First of all, every day is a national day. Some are fun, silly, some are a little more serious. Do you know what today is?
I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue.
Today it's National Drink Beer Day. Are you a beer drinker?
Oh, yes, I am.
What's your beer of choice? Do you like the more, the retail side of things like Budweiser and those, or do you like more like the homemade, lagers or brews?
I'm a craft guy. Okay. I mean, if it's around, it's around. If you're in the Muni lot for a Browns game, like I found myself last Thursday, go Browns, and there's a Labatt Blue or a Coors Light, it is what it is. But no, I'm more of a craft guy, and I like to keep it local in Ohio. Actually, if you ever do find yourself down in Jacksonville, Florida, go to a really good beer spot. Another little plug: our CEO bought a beer hall. So
nice. Chris Horton says IPAs all the way. So you guys
IPAs all the there you go, Chris.
Yeah. 100%. Go to a restaurant, see what's on tap, and get a nice pour. What's funny is that I told you I've never had a cup of coffee. I've also never had a beer, Kyle. I know this could be the end of our friendship. I don't know, but my dad.
Or it's something new. It's something new, Trey.
Or
you never know.
It could be something new. That's true. My dad, he did all my drinking for me. He was an alcoholic, gotcha. So I've stayed away from it. Plus, I'm a sweet tooth guy. And I know that sometimes, alcohol in general and beers and whatnot can be kind of bitter. They can always be an acquired taste. I remember my dad telling me it's an acquired taste. And I went, that's stupid. Like, why don't I just drink what I like? Why do I have to drink something until I like it?
My dad's not a beer guy. He'll have one, if he has to. Ruth is not a fan. That's cool.
That's right. And she's in Portland. They got great beers up in Portland. Have you been to Portland? Oh my goodness.
I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. I am dying to go. I've got family up in Seattle. I really, really want to go, but
they have a beer fest. You should look this up. They have a beer fest, and there's a lot of like local breweries and people that brew their own stuff. And I mean, I went to it. I didn't have any of the beer, but I went to it, and people rave about it. So if you get a chance to go up to Portland for the beer fest, I think you would enjoy it quite a bit.
I'm booking the tickets as soon as we get off this. Podcast.
You should make that happen. It's phenomenal. So so it's National Drink Beer Day, everybody. Which it's actually Wednesday. It should fall on a Thursday because it's Thursday night, the night that people typically go out.
Yeah, but this is Hump Day, and you got to get something to turn the tide. That moves you over into the second half of the week. So
companies, do it. Yeah, companies need to do an impromptu happy hour today because it's National Drink Beer Day. So if you're out there, think about doing that. Another segment that we have real quick, which we're going to get to, may go just a touch over today. I do apologize, everybody, but another quick segment is we have the random question of the day, Kyle. And this question is so random. I don't even know what it is. We let our podcast director come up with all of this. So it could be a good question. It could be a really bad question. I have no idea. But the random question of the day today is, what was the greatest prank you've played on someone? Are you a prankster?
Oh God, I don't know if I can talk about that on I did go to the University of Colorado. Don't know if I can talk about
and you majored in skiing, you said. So I'm sure there's some
major in skiing.
There's some stories.
This is a tough question.
Well, let me take it first. All right. So I was a big TPer back in the day.
Okay.
And I thought I was professional at it. I did a really good job. I heard from a parent just last night about a TPing job that happened that was pretty depressing. Whole rolls of toilet paper were just sitting on the lawn, like I don't know what that's all about. But I was a big toilet paper kind of guy. Vaseline under the door handles, forks obviously in the yard, saran wrap around the cars, all kind. I mean, we did all kinds of stuff. We wrote a newsletter because we were just stupid. A random newsletter with weird stories that we'd put under the windshield wiper on the car. I don't know why. We're just being so stupid and weird. But I'm not a huge prankster, but that was kind of a good one. There's a couple others, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. It's a good question.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not a huge prankster, and I can't confirm nor deny if I was a part of this or not. But in high school, there's a senior prank day, and I remember at the school that I went to here in Cleveland, a class may have removed all of the auditorium seats prior to morning assembly, and
that's a job.
Vacated that's 400
job.
Students did not have a place to sit for the morning assembly. That I may have kind of
there may have been some. That seems like a lot of wrenches and some muscle needed for that. That's a job. It
was a long time ago, Trey. I mean, it's 2022. It was a long
we don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to talk about old things. No, it's not important.
Good question.
Well, Kyle, listen, I have enjoyed having you on the show today. We're at 30 minutes. This goes by so fast every time. Need to have you back on because I wanted to talk a little bit more about being a jack of all trades. I'm a jack of all trades kind of a guy. And I think that gets a bad rap sometimes. So I'd love to talk to you about that more if you can come back and join us again sometime.
I would be more than happy to do so at any time. I really appreciate it and enjoyed being with you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We'll get you back on here soon, maybe November, December, something like that. And we'll talk about that. And everybody else that was watching, thanks for being a part of the show today. Make sure you come back tomorrow. I got Brenda Wood on the show. She's a motivational speaker talking about becoming the best you. And it's going to be really exciting to talk about that. So make sure you're back here tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central and every day for an episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. Kyle, it's been great to chat, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.